Hi everyone and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar. My name is Riley and I assist in coordinating EIT's various webinars we have every month. Today we'll be discussing our Doctor of Engineering program with those who may be interested in learning about or applying for this course. Please note that these webinars are recorded and everyone will be sent the PowerPoint slides and the link to the recording after the session. We also have a few others online, such as Indu, EIT's Deputy Dean, and Akhtar, who is EIT's Academic Board Chairman. And we also have Lebo, who is one of our course advisors at EIT. So just for the agenda today, will be as follows. So we'll give a bit of an overview of EIT, and then also the Doctor of Engineering, such as the course structure, entry requirements, pathways and credit, job outcomes, how to apply for it, student support, as well as scholarships. And we'll have a little Q&A session at the end as well if anyone has any questions. We aim for these sessions to be interactive, so please use the chat box if you'd like to ask any questions or provide comments. I'd like to hand over to Indu now, who will be one of the two main presenters during this session today. Thanks, Indu.
Thank you, Riley. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening to learn more about the Professional Doctor of Engineering here at EIT. My name is Indu, and I'm the Deputy Dean here at EIT. I have more than 17 years of experience in various engineering leadership and engineering education, both in the vocational and higher education here in Australia. And I'm also currently a PhD student myself, focusing on engineering education. My project focuses on using EEG brainwave sensors to find out if I can empower student engagement and participation in the classroom. I would also like to invite our esteemed chair of the academic board, Dr. Kalam, to introduce himself.
Right. Thank you very much, Indu. Just a quick one from me. I am the head of the EIT academic board. And most importantly, I'm the most handsome person in EIT. That I think is a better qualification than all that is there. I have been teaching in Australia for around 40 years now. So it's a long journey. I've got concurrent appointments at various institutions throughout the world. I also have a journal that I'm the chief editor of. I've conducted research, done a lot of consultancy work for the industry, and publications. I've done more than 600 publications by now. 47 PhD students have graduated under my supervision as of yesterday. Have been an external examiner for many PhD students in Australia and overseas. My major area of interest is power systems analysis, communications, control, protection, renewable energy, smart grid, 61850 implementation, and cogeneration system. And I pass it to Indu to go ahead. Indu, it's all yours.
Thank you, Professor Kalam. Right, next we will look into just an overview about EIT. So EIT is one of the engineering specialist colleges in the world, and so which means that all our focus and dedication is on just purely engineering qualification. So we deliver all the way from professional certificates, which are like professional development courses while you're working on the jobs, diplomas, advanced diplomas, undergraduate and graduate certificates. So these are pathway qualifications into our bachelor and master courses. And of course the master's and bachelor degrees, as well as a professional doctor of engineering. So we have a full range of pathway all the way from your diplomas to the doctor of engineering, as well as continuous professional education as well. And most important thing is our programs are industry oriented. So from the get-go, so from the design of the course all the way to delivery of the course. We use industry experts to design and deliver the course to make sure that we are keeping up with the current and changing technology and industry developments. And this is also reflected when we do course updates, which occurs, every 12 to 18 months as well. We have a world-class accredited education. So our programs are accredited here in Australia, both in vocational and higher education program under the Australian government. And we also have these programs recognized under engineering accords. So your Dublin Accord, your Sydney Accord, and your Washington Accord. And like I mentioned before, industry experience lecturers. So most of our lecturers come from the world of engineering. So they're not just simply just teaching. They are engaged in the industry. They're engaged in research, concurrent research. They're engaged in what's going on, cutting edge technologies. Like, for example, we've got Professor Kalam, who's supervising students who are doing research which are to do with cutting edge technologies. So all our lecturers are very experienced, and we get them from around the world. So there's no such thing as we are isolated to one local pool of talent, but we tap into the global pool of expertise from our lecturers. We do have a very unique delivery model. Now, before online learning became online learning, we were delivering online methodologies, but our online is different in the sense that you're not just going to listen to recorded lectures. You're actually going to be interacting with the live lecturer there with you, like pretty much what we're doing now. And you have ways to interact with the lecturers. You've got your chat box that you interact with. You can use your microphone and ask questions. And then on top of that, to complement everything, we've got your e-library to tap into. You've got your remote laboratories, virtual laboratories, and simulation softwares that add the next dimension for your practical side of learning as well. I will pass it back to Professor Kalam for the next one.
Thank you very much, Indu. Now, continuing with what Indu was mentioning, I want to show you the distinction between world-class universities and world-class higher education. When we are talking about the world-class institution, in particular the universities, everyone looks at the ranking. They say that, look, this is ranked in QS ranking, and this ranking, and that ranking. So Shanghai ranking. There are so many rankings which are there. But you must realize at the end of the tunnel, you need some sort of employment. So the employers should also recognize your institution. One of the things that is becoming very common in universities are research. And that is not only creating research, but creating and making sure that they have got currency and you can pass that research to someone who can utilize it. And naturally, the scale of the universities are big ivory tower buildings. Whereas the higher education institution, to be world class, it needs international recognition. Therefore, at EIT, we have got a lot of benchmarking going on and partnering going on. There are people in EIT, as Indu did mention, of people that are there who are in different institutions, in different part of the world, in different profession. Also, there is long-term graduate employability. Whether our graduates who come out, have they got any chance in the industry? And we are very careful that we want to be able to produce graduates who are employable the day one that they graduate. So in order to do that, we excel in teaching, learning, and assessment. And we are performing in all international performance standards. If you compare us, you'll find that. And naturally, with all these teaching, learning, and assessments, we have these scholarly activities. Just wanted to fill you in one more thing, and that is what is happening in Australia. Since I'm in Australia, I would like to talk a bit on Australia. In Australia, in the year 2030, I can tell you that Australian institutions are going way ahead. You're finding that 8% of the working population are in higher education. About 3 years back, Australia's annual income from international education was $20.3 billion. It's not million, it's $billion. And the unis took 2/3 of that share. So the growth in 15 years from 2000 to 2015 has been 5.4% per annum. And one of the things which is coming out very clearly is that people are requesting for lifelong learning. So it's not only from bachelor's degree to PhD or from bachelor's to master's. I think now people are talking from P to P. That means from prep year to PhD level. That's what people are talking about. And that is what Australia is looking at, PTP, from prep level all the way up to a PhD level. So remember that this is not me. It's Ernst Young in 2018 said that what type of universities has to be there tomorrow, and that's the future university. They say that university models need to transform as in student base shifts to continuous learning. So people want lifelong learning, and that's what we pride in at EIT. Now, coming back to my stuff and the professional doctorate of engineering, when we first started that, when we first initiated, we wanted to see what type of structure is there, what is there in this PhD program which can make it different from any other PhD program. So first of all, the program that we have is not a PhD, it's a Doctor of Engineering, DEng. That's a subtle difference. And if you look carefully at it, it's a professional Doctor of Engineering. So now someone might ask, what is this professional Doctor of Engineering? This doctorate program is very structured. So it's not haphazard. It doesn't leave it to individuals to find their own way in which they can get lost. And it is targeted to professionals. So those who already are experienced professionals, and we know that these experienced professionals will make significant contribution. They make significant contribution to the development, application, and evaluation. So it's not only the original knowledge, but that original knowledge and the research integrated practice will be in there, part and parcel of the program. So the professional doctorate program, in fact, promotes the generation of knowledge and research skills that enhances professional practice. So it's not something that is going to be left in a library of some sort, but something which is to be used by the industry, to be used by institutions, wherever it is. Being an Australian program, we cannot run an Australian program unless and until it has proper accreditation. The first body that needs accreditation is TEQSA, which is Tertiary Education Quality and Standard Agency. This independent national quality assurance and regulatory agency is for the higher education sector. And they have given us AQF of 10. That means we qualify for an Australian quality framework at a level 10, which is the highest level. Just to give you a difference, a 3-year bachelor's program gives you an Level 8, a 4-year bachelor's program and a master's program gives you level 9. And PhD and Doctor of Engineering program goes to levels 10. Duration is at least 3 years. I use the word at least 3 years because some might delay a bit. We might have part-time students who might take double the time. At the moment, this program is online, and I'll leave it to Indu to talk about the on-campus, and she might mention some things today, when it's going to start, if it's going to start on campus. Structure is very simple. 37% of the course is of the program is by coursework, and I'll give you the breakdown. The coursework has got basically 4 credit point subjects. There are four credit point subjects and 2 8 credit point subjects. So there are actually subjects that one has to read, and there are 88 credit points of research. So it's a combo of both the coursework and research. The research is where you have your doctoral dissertation. So it is 37% of the work is by course and 63% is by research. Just to give you a feeling of the program. And look at that. I did tell you that there are 4 credit point subjects. So the four credit points, I don't want to read all the name, but to give you an idea, these are the 601, 602, 603, 604. Those are the 4 that you will do in the first 2 terms, which is equivalent to 1 semester. And the next 2 terms is the next semester, you do the research. And the first time you do research is a 12 credit point unit. So it's a small research that gives you the hang of what is going to happen, how you're going to do the main work. The main work will come here, my friend. That is in year 3. And you will do another 2 coursework element, that is 801 and 803. Look at that. They are double weighted credit point units. That is 8. Now, it's quite possible that your supervisor might think that you might need some other subjects to do. So some of these subjects can be changed. But then you need to actually have approvals from the supervisor to be able to change any of these subjects. Ultimately, Indu will sign off on that. So, but then it can't be just done on moods and whims. It is very, very structured. And as I mentioned, the total credit point is 120. That 32 credit point is 37%, 88 credit points is 63% of the course. Now, after that, I wanted to mention the next thing. Why should you be doing our DEng program? What is so great about this EIT's DEng program? First thing is that it is very flexible. So it's meant for those people who are working in the industry, who have got a lot of experience in the industry, okay, and they want to be flexible so that they can do the work. And also, some of them might be in different parts of the world. And to give you an example, there are 8 students at the moment, and I'm supervising 3 of them. One is in Perth, the other one is in Saudi Arabia, and the third one is in South Africa. So it suits the individual. Those 3 people that I'm talking about, they are working professionals. They already have a lot of practical experience in the field. So it suits someone who is flexible. It suits someone who wants to do practical work, who wants to do work which could be applied in the industry. And the delivery model is unique. And that is because we've got an online program and we have been looking at that methodology for the last 10 years. So I think we have perfected that program. The other thing is that it is not my whims that the projects are there. It is all industry oriented. I might be the supervisor, but it's not me. It's not a theoretical work. It is applied in nature, very, very focused to the industry. And therefore, two people benefit out of that, the industry and the academia. The fourth thing is that it is work integrated learning, what we call WIL. So here, your DEng program will be linked to your workplace issues and actually solve problems that you are passionate about, and you will do it in a very innovative and flexible manner. Naturally, it's a research qualification, right? So you have to do independent investigation into a research problem. But in the first 2 years, you will have enough experience to be doing full-fledged research in the last year. And there we will expect that you not only make a significant contribution, but the word is original contribution to the knowledge. And that knowledge will be applicable to your professional practice. The sixth thing that comes out of the EIT's DEng program is the contribution. It's going to prepare you for the highest level of professional practice. So you will be contributing significantly. We want you to be flying EIT's flag and say that you are a graduate of a DEng program from EIT and you are in forefront of development of the engineering discipline. Then my next point I wanted to mention is this hybrid curriculum of professional doctorate. And if you look carefully, we have got three things over there. One is the university. This is where EIT is. Then the workplace. This is where the industry is. And profession, which is what you want to do from your professional industry, and you want to do research in that. So it's a mixture of research. It's a mixture of the institution, the higher education institution, which is EIT, and the workplace. If you look at the profession itself, you will see that the research you'll be doing has to be a relevant research which is going to solve national and global problems. And someone might ask this question, what do you mean by relevant? Relevant is not something which is theoretical in nature. It's something like the UN program at the moment on sustainability, something on climate change, something that improves the quality of life. So students come up with the problems, and they come up with a problem. And the other thing is that you have to be careful. No longer we have got one issue which is confined to Australia or somewhere like that. We live in a global village and we have got global problems. So all national problems are global problems. Then the workplace. The workplace. At the moment, there could be people working in utilities, in agriculture, in manufacturing, in health area. Okay. But we have to look at new areas like defense and space. So how can engineering at EIT be more engaged with the industry? What should we at EIT be looking for that will enhance EIT's relationship with the industry? So that is a very important thing. And if you look carefully, we have to look at our discipline. And I tell you, we only specialize in engineering. And I can only mention my own field, which is electrical. We are looking at a digital transformation. And this is going a huge step ahead by looking at core technologies in electrical engineering. But we have to make sure that whatever you are doing, they are aligned to the digital transformation of the future. So we have to make sure that we have got key deliverables that can consider when we are looking at a relevant DEng program with a relevant DEng qualification. So we have got our strategies right from 2020 to 2025, and we are looking carefully at something that we are not confined to to EIT, but we want to consider constraint which is beyond EIT. So we are looking at a global issue. Thank you very much. I pass it to Indu now.
Thank you, Professor Kalam. Right.
Sorry, Indu, you've gone a bit ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you. So next we'll look at the entry requirements for this program. So there's a couple of ways you can get into the program. If you have a Bachelor of Engineering with honors or a graduate diploma or equivalent with a minimum second class honors division A or H2A, or if you have an appropriate and relevant master's degree from EIT or other recognized tertiary institution. Now, when I say appropriate, it means, for example, if you're wanting to do research in the field of, let's say, chemical engineering, then your master's should be in that related field. So you can't have master's in mechanical engineering and then want to do a doctorate in a chemical engineering. Yeah. So you need to make sure that you've had appropriate and relevant master's degree. And or satisfying the dean or delegate of your fitness to undertake further advanced work. So there are some cases where you have a 4-year undergraduate qualification from a recognized institution, but you perhaps may not have your honors. Yeah. So, but you can demonstrate that you've got at least 5 years of working experience, professional practice in the relevant field, and you're also able to show that how you have contributed to the field with original ideas. You also, and when you're talking about original ideas, it's things to do with published work. So it could be published papers, it could be published books on a topic. And we also obviously look for appropriate level of English language proficiency as required for the admissions policy. And if you want more information, more detailed information about the entry requirements, you can visit that using the link provided here or on our course page. Next item is the pathway and credits. So you can apply for credits for prior recognition, for example, during admissions. Now, just take note that we will not be awarding credits towards a thesis. So, for example, if you have done part of the thesis some other place and you want to come and submit that for credit here, that's not going to happen. So we are not going to provide you with credits towards a thesis, dissertation, maybe that you have completed somewhere else, or an alternative research component itself. And any candidate transferring from a coursework master's degree either from EIT or from a recognized institute or an university, you can apply and you may receive a credit of maximum of 2 units or 8 credit points. So the maximum credit points you can get for this course is 8 credit points. You can't reduce that any further. And again, if you are transferring from a master's degree by research from a recognized institution, again, you may apply for credit and you may receive a credit maximum of 8 credit points. If you're transferring from a professional doctorate from some other university or an institution, again, you can apply, but you'll again only be able to get a maximum of 8 credit points. In terms of direct entry, you will only be granted graduates of bachelor honors, graduate diplomas, or masters from a cognate discipline from a recognized institution. Again, I have to stress the point of the cognate discipline. You have to make sure that you you're going to succeed in the research, which means you need to have all the fundamental knowledge from that background. Now, if you only have a 3-year bachelor degree, you will not be provided direct entry, regardless of work experience. And what we'll do is we'll advise you to complete an EIT graduate diploma or a 2-year master's degree program to be able to get entry into the doctorate program. I know there was some question in the chat box. I'll probably address the questions towards the end. Now, some people will wonder, so what's the point of having a doctorate of engineering? So there are different job outcomes with the Doctor of Engineering. So obviously you can work in the academic sector. So quite a lot of times the industry looks for researchers and professionals who are at the peak of their industry, which means you're contributing to something significant in your industry sector. And obviously you'll get a Doctor of Engineering because you want to contribute something to your specific field. So you can work in the academic sector as, continuing a researcher or a lecturer, for example. Business and organizations in the private sector, companies look for people who have specialized knowledge to, making sure that, you're creating innovation to your industry. And of course, government agencies as well. Hiring researchers and professionals, it's again a great way for government agencies to get the best of the best, the cream of the crop. So you do have lots of job opportunities and outcomes, and of course you will be recognized as the leader in your field when you get a professional Doctor of Engineering. So how do you apply? So for the online mode, the application cutoff date is 24th May. Now take note that this has been recently updated. Previously it was, if I'm not mistaken, 15th of June. The reason it's been updated because we do take extensive requirements in terms of making sure we assess and make sure you're right for the program. Your thesis topics make sense, it has novelty to it, and we're also able to allocate you to the right supervisor as well. The actual program start date will be on the 28th of June 2021. And again, it takes about approximately 3 weeks from the time of submitting your application. Now, and I'm saying approximately because sometimes it can take slightly longer, sometimes quicker. It all depends on your application and it's on a case-by-case basis. So make sure you visit our website and fill in an inquiry form. And one of our course advisor will be in touch with you to discuss your inquiry. The next step, you will receive an email which will provide you about the start dates, the cost of the program, and again a link as well to our online application portal. So that's important. Now take note for point 4. So your application will need to include a resume, a 500-word statement as to why you wish to complete the program, along with a 1,000-word research proposal. Now the research proposal is there only as a way to determine what is your, where do you want to go? What is the idea that you have in mind? Yeah. We do provide research proposal guidelines, so it helps you to gives you an idea of what you need to put in that proposal. It doesn't have to be extensive. A 1,000-word proposal is quite simple, and like I said, the guide will provide you with the details of what you need to include in there. Now, for your application, you also need to have certified identities as well as academic documents. They also need to be provided. Now, if you want to discuss your research proposal with an academic team member before you complete your application, let your course advisor know, and we will put you in touch with the relevant contact details. And once you complete your application and submit all the documentation, our admissions team will assess it for entry requirements. And then your application goes through to the research committee for review to also look at your research proposal and also allocation of potential supervisor. All applications will have to go through an interview with the research supervisor and delegate, and then finally a letter of offer will be sent to you via admissions. Now, once you are in the program, what kind of support would you get? And I know that that's a big question in a lot of students' mind. So you would have a dedicated learning support officer, and I see a couple of people who have been with EIT previously, and they understand the importance of learning support officer. So the learning support officer is not an academic, but a support officer who will be with you throughout your course or your units, depending on the model we are running for that particular program. And this learning support officer will be your first point of contact for any issues that to do with academic or administrative side of things once you're enrolled into the program. You also have access to the research coordinator, and I'll introduce the research coordinator during our Q&A session. He's here with us today, Dr. Motiza. And your research coordinator will be able to discuss any issues you have with your supervisor or your research topic, or if you're struggling with anything in particular. You receive a comprehensive orientation, and you will have professional development throughout your course with us as well. You have access to academics, so you have access to academics from different fields of engineering. You also will be provided with a principal supervisor who will be the main guidance for you in terms of developing your research project itself. So the academics will be there for you during your coursework, but your principal supervisor and your associate supervisor are the two people who will be your guidance throughout your research side of things. We do provide you with support and in terms of encouragement as well as some financial support to help you to publish in journal publications, because that's important as a research candidate. And if you are doing any projects and research that are associated directly with the industry, we provide you with an industry supervisor as appropriate. So let's say if an academic supervisor is not appropriate for your particular research topic, you would be provided with an industry supervisor. There's plenty of library resources, including access to journal articles and research materials that you would need, as well as study support. And again, we will run many sessions for you with the study support in terms of, for example, it could be all the way from how do you reference articles, in a particular standard, all the way to how do you write for a conference presentation, for a poster presentation, for an abstract presentation, and so on. And you'll also have access to internals conferences as well, where you are able to present and have practice in presenting in conferences and journals outside. You have access to a wide range of remote laboratories and simulation software. So depending on what you're proposing to do, and if you require a particular software or particular type of laboratory equipment, we can support you with that. There's also lots of scholarships and assistantships available. And again, please look at our website in terms of what scholarships are available for you. So in terms of the current available scholarships for the DEng, you've got the EIT Dean's High Achievers Doctorate Scholarship. Now, this is applicable to both domestic and international students, and you have to have an academic excellence track record. And it's limited to 2 scholarships per semester. And what it does is gives you a 25% discount on tuition fees for the next term or semester. And at the moment, it's open to the online mode of delivery. Now, take note, when multiple applications meet the eligible criteria, the scholarship panel will select 2 recipients based on the higher academic grades. Yeah. And again, discounts will be applied to the tuition fees for up to a maximum of 4 units in 1 semester or a term. And again, discounts are applied to the amount and currency invoiced to the student. There's another one called the assistantships. So these may be awarded again in 2 general categories for teaching assistants or graduate assistants. And again, this is a way of providing you with financial support. So for example, if you are eligible for the scholarship and you get the scholarship, you get a 10% discount on your tuition fee. And on top of that, teaching assistants and graduate assistants, you'll be paid a stipend of $32 an hour or equivalent for duties that are allocated to you. And again, these duties are limited to about 15 hours a week. The academics and myself, we will allocate you certain tasks. It could be anywhere ranging from helping us with marking, for example, or delivering tutorials or supporting during tutorials. And again, this will be discussed with you when you are provided with that scholarship. Now, this is an exciting development that's been happening, and we will be able to announce something, I'm hoping, in the next week or so. So we do have approval to deliver this program on campus. So that is, in Perth or in Melbourne in Australia. Now again, on-campus students have the same support as our online mode of students, but with greater access to our on-campus facilities. The starting dates are yet to be confirmed, so please watch this space, and once we know, we'll let you know when this is happening, and anyone interested to come on campus, yeah, we can talk further. I will pass it back to Riley.
Thank you very much, Indu. I just wanted to give you a bit of an example of one of my DN student. He started this year. He's Martin. Martin is in South Africa, and a very diligent student, a mature, diligent student. He has been CEO of a number of power utilities. He's working in a very big company at the moment. And this is his view. His view in the last 3 months that he has been working very closely with me and my colleague. I believe Murtaza is also a supervisory team. That Dr. Alizadeh, sorry. First of all, I want to mention that EIT is committed to provide supervision through a very highly experienced supervisor. This is one of the characteristic of EIT. We've got a lot of staff members there, a lot of young staff members who are very good. But EIT is committed that they will only give the principal supervision to the most senior staff members. So you will find that you or any one of your friends will all be under the most senior staff members. And this is what Martin writes, that he finds this, the initial stage that I told you has been there only 3 months, to be very informative. So he thinks that he's exactly what I was telling you about, he's working in he thinks it's very informative. And at the moment, he's got all the information and he's now going to do applied research. So it gives him at least 1 year practice in research to be able to delve into his main topic, which he'll be doing starting at the middle of 2nd year and continuing completely in the 3rd year. Now, there is a bit of confusion with some of you about the years. I want to make sure that you understand. When we are talking about the years, we are talking about full-time mode. Now, some might prefer to do it in part-time mode initially and then accelerate later on. That is perfectly fine. So there is enough time to develop your research topic and to make it really useful. Thank you very much, Indu. It's all yours.
Thank you, Professor Kalam. Riley, over to you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks, Indu and Akhtar, for a very informative presentation. I'm sure everyone really appreciated that. I'd like to mention that we have various webinars every month. So please keep updated by looking at our events page on our website regularly, which you can find at the bottom of that slide there. We're still finalizing webinars for next month. So if anyone is interested, we do have a technical topic webinar running tomorrow in which you can receive a certificate of attendance for if you're interested. So especially if you're interested in civil and structural engineering, I'd recommend you register for that one. And it's on our website at the moment, and the link is there if you want to have a look. And we'll move on, and yeah, it's a Q&A section. So if anyone has any questions, now would be the time.
I just want to introduce as well, we've got Dr. Motiza here, who's our research coordinator in the room. So again, if there are any other questions, he's available to assist you to answer those as well. So we've got someone with their hand up. Let's see. Hamidullah, you had a question? Do you want to put it in the chat box or use the microphone, please?
The microphone is disabled for this session, just with the amount of attendees. So if anyone has any questions, just please put them in the chat box.
Indu, he has already put his question in the chat box. His question is very relevant, and I think he's interested in construction management or structural engineering, and he wants to know whether there is area of research available. The answer to that, can I make an answer to that, Indu?
Yeah, please. Please.
Yeah. So what will happen is that once you have shown your interest and you have written that 1,000-word research proposal, because we want you to take initiative, Hamidullah, and we want you to be taking charge of the project itself. So we will then link you with a potential experienced academic advisor. Dr. Alizadeh will organize that meeting with you and a professional academic advisor, potential academic advisor, principal advisor for you. And then you can see which one will be matching the topics that you want to do in construction management or structural engineering. Remember, construction management and structural engineering is a very broad-based area. You have to narrow it down substantially to be able to do a doctorate program. And it has to be very focused. And at the end, you have to come up with original contribution that will be relevant to the professional area. I hope I've made myself very clear to you. The next is a question from Jacob Indu. Jacob is from Ghana. He'll be in Australia in June. He has an HND in mechanical engineering with 300 short courses and advanced professional certificates. He's got 11 years working experience in the mining industry. He's doing the master's program in maintenance engineering. Am I eligible for the program? Now, looking at your qualification and experience at the moment is very hard to say purely what you've written. But if you have a master's program in maintenance engineering, then you will be eligible for the program. Am I right, Indu?
That's correct. If you have successfully completed your master's program in maintenance engineering, you can certainly apply for the doctorate of engineering. And I think we've got next question from Chris. Chris, perhaps if you needed another chat with one of our academics to try and maybe figure out why there is a little bit of indecision to the topic, we can certainly arrange that. We also have another question from Mukasir. It is not mandatory to be working during the course, but of course we want to make sure that the topic of area of research that you're choosing is relevant to the industry.
Yeah, but most probably Mukassir might be asking a different thing. I believe that it's not clear. He might be asking that he may not have any working experience. Can he enter the program?
He's followed up that question actually later on.
Sorry,
saying,
I didn't see that.
He has been working since 11 years as instrumentation engineering and have masters of engineering. Yep.
Then it's all right.
Relevant. Yep.
Yeah, that's all right. No, he doesn't have to work during the course. He has got enough experience and he's got a master's qualification. And if that master's qualification is from an acceptable institution, I think he will be eligible for the program.
Yeah. Next, who do we have?
Next is George Samuel. George is an instrumentation and control engineering with safety systems experience. He would like to pursue this, right? And he needs to have a topic matching. So he wants us to supply him a topic. I think that's wrong, George. You have to come up with, as I told you, we would like some initiative from individuals to be able to show us that they are keen and they have got enough experience to handle a research program. Indu, you want to add to that?
Yeah, so like Professor Kalam says, we do want you to propose, and everyone in the room, just to let you know that your proposal is not set in stone until you reach your candidature stage, which is when you're already in the program. So the initial stage is just to understand where your interest lies and what you are proposing and what you want to do. And as any research student knows, as you're going through your first year, your topic will get much more refined, and you would come to a much more conclusive area of what you want to focus on, I would say, in the first year or end of the first year if you're doing a full-time study. So we do want you to take the initiative in the first place and propose a topic that is matching in your area. And if the topic is not making, it's your initial proposal, it's not up to the mark, the research coordinator will get back to you with the feedback from the panel to say how you can improve your proposal to make sure you get into the program. So if you're scared about how to do the proposal, your course advisors are here to provide you with the proposal guidelines, and you can use that guidelines to complete your proposal. And further from there, you have your research coordinator and the academic team who would look at your proposal and provide you with further feedback. I hope that helps answer that kind of question that we are getting in terms of the research proposal here.
Good on you. Tanveer has asked a very difficult question. Maybe I can't understand what he's asking. He says that if we decide 4 years coursework accordingly will be divided into 4 years. I'm interested in building design. I can't understand what is the question. So he decides 4 years of coursework. The coursework is not 4 years, it's only 37% of the time, as I told you. 63% is research. And there is no problem in building design, provided it is to the level that is expected out of a EIT doctorate person. Yes, Indu, you want to add something?
Yeah, now I'm not sure whether you want to complete the program in a part-time mode in 4 years. But if you're thinking of it that way, yes, it's up to the speed of what you come up with. You do have a maximum of 6 years to complete the program in part-time mode. So if you finish it early, you can finish it early. There's nothing stopping you from finishing it early. So some students, for example, choose to do the coursework in full-time mode and then the research in part-time mode or vice versa. So like I said, the duration of the program changes. If you're enrolled as a purely full-time student and studying full-time, then you have 3 years to complete. But you can mix between part-time and full-time.
Hamidullah continues with the second question where he's asking with he needs to do some lab test. How will he be using the labs? Where will he get facilities? How will he practice in the labs?
Yep. So again, during your time when you're filling in your application, we do ask you in terms of what are the resources that you require, or if you would have access to these requirements in your workplace. Because quite often, if you're an online student and you're doing a doctorate program, it's usually linked to something to do with your workplace, and most students have that facilities in the workplace. If you don't have those facilities and you have identified ahead in time in your application that you do require other facilities, then we have some ways of discussing and figuring out a way for you to get access to these. So again, it will depend on, I can't tell you how to get some lab tests because it depends on what lab test you're talking about, but we can certainly discuss that with your research coordinator and your supervisor.
Noel is asking a question about he already has a master's program engineering, but he does not want to research workplace or employment subject. He would like to do a research in a subject which he has published before. Is this okay? There's nothing wrong with that, Noel. But Indu, any comments?
I would say that there's nothing wrong with it. Just have to make sure that there is still novelty in the subject area or the topic that you're proposing. Quite often people do take their master's research, for example, and then extend it into a different side of it and can come up with something novel to extend it to a doctorate program. So that's allowed.
Okay, Chris is asking about design that cobbles together existing technologies to perform something that is a world first and original versus original research, innovation versus research. Any tips or thoughts?
I think quite often, and I think Professor Kalam would perhaps also add on to this, quite often people tend to think that when you're getting a doctorate program, you have to come up with something, magical out of the box, that's something someone has never done before. And that's actually not what it is. Sometimes it's about creating a process efficiency that has never been done before, something novel, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be something extraordinary. Um, I'm not sure, Professor, if you want to perhaps give some.
No, it doesn't have to be, but if it's a really innovative work, there's nothing wrong with it. It gives you absolutely kudos for doing that. As a matter of fact, that'll be great if you can come up with a Nobel Prize. So there's no problem at all. No, I don't believe a lot of people will be on innovation versus original research. But if there is something innovation, it could be quite useful. But it's not something which is absolutely written in the Holy Script or something like that. Then a question from George: difference between PhD and DEng? I think I've spent a lot of time in telling that. Maybe
Yeah, it's
you
actually
can
available
answer.
on our website as well. So quite often a PhD is very research focused, and the person who's doing a PhD quite often is working in the academic field and continues their extension. It may not be applied to the industry. It can be, but it may not always be applied to the industry. But a doctorate program is always something that is an applied research. So it's not something just purely theoretical or hypothetical, but an applied research. That's a very summarized version of it. But like I said,
But
there is a big link on our website where it goes into in depth about the difference between a doctorate and a PhD.
Indu and Libu has given a whole paragraph of that, and he
Yep.
has given also the link to that in a Wikipedia link.
Yep.
So
And
that is definitely the. Now the question is this course available on campus? I think Indu has already explained that we are looking at it in a week or two time. You'll be able to note when it starts on campus. Is that right?
that's correct. Yeah, we're just finalizing some details, and we'll be able to let everyone who's registered for this know that when it's available. We'll be letting you know as well. Um, okay,
What
in
would be
terms
the
of
timing of lectures during the start of DEng? That's a very good question, George. Um, because the lectures will be done online, so it's very flexible. Isn't that right, Indu?
that's correct. The lectures are flexible, and we try as much as we can to align with the time zones of the different participants across the world. But all of our lectures are recorded and tutorials are recorded. So even if you do miss it, you can re-watch the recordings. And again, you have the contact of the lecturers and the learning support officers to ask questions even if you miss the lectures. So as much as the timing of the lectures are, it may not fit with everybody's time zone, but you do have the flexibility of connecting with your lecturers after.
And possibly the last question from Chris. Chris Tapping has said a very nice uh, message. He has a topic, a possible topic of which could be useful to Australian military, and who would be happy to sponsor him. But the time scale might be much shorter. Can I do the research and document it to align with the structure?
Yeah, you can always do the research alongside your coursework. So some students do that. So even though we say, for example, a full-time student takes 3 years, sometimes, if you're really, if you have done a research and the output is already there and you're able to, publish it at that level, you can finish it earlier. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
I think with that, I've covered all the questions that was there, except Tanveer Zafar's next question. Um, and I just want to take that because could be the last. He's a structural engineer with 15 years experience in steel structure, has a master's in design of steel structure. He needs information for this course, how many hours are required, and all that is available in website. Indu, could you
It is,
say
yeah,
anything?
it's available in the website. We say that, every coursework unit takes about 20 hours of commitment. And if it's a research unit, it takes about 60 hours of commitment. This is per week. It's, we can't tell you how much hours you need to put aside in a day. So some people are flexible. Sometimes they spend an hour a day, and then the weekends they spend 15 hours. So it's up to you how you do your studies. But if you want to complete it in 3 years, you need to do a full-time load. And again, those structures are given on our website in terms of how many units and how many credit points you need to complete. If you are working and wanting to do it full-time, I would say it's a little bit, probably a bit too ambitious, unless your project is very well aligned with what you're doing at work. But otherwise, I would recommend you to start part-time and see how you go with the workload. Now, there are questions as well in terms of student visa. Yes, if it is on campus, you do need to apply and go through the student visa side of things, and that's required.
Yeah, but just wanted to add, Indu, if you are an international student, if you're a local student, you don't need a student visa.
That's correct. Yes.
Yes, with that, I think, Indu, we just run out of time.
Out of time, yes. And yeah, any further questions, please send through to your course advisors, and we'll be back in touch. And I want to say thank you all for joining us today, and thanks to Professor Kalam for again taking the time to join us here. Thanks to Dr. Motiza to be available in the room as well, and the Riley and Lebo for assisting with the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much once again, Indu, and I've enjoyed being with you and giving this presentation. Thanks a lot, and thanks to EIT for the opportunity. And good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you all.
Bye. Thanks, Riley. Bye-bye. Thanks for the organization.
Thanks very much, guys. No worries. Please find all of our contact details there as well. If anyone needs, we've got our website, phone number, and my email address if you want to send me an email regarding this webinar. But otherwise, be sure to keep in touch with us. Thanks, everyone.